Call to order, Buhl City Council meeting, Tuesday, August 30th, 2024. Mr. Jeffries, please take the roll.
Councillor Hadrava.
Here.
Councillor Keeley.
Here.
Councillor Loeffler. Councillor Towner.
Here.
Mayor Carter.
Here.
The quorum is present, we may conduct business.
Thank you, sir. Okay, all rise for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. I like that part. All right, Mr. Jeffries, do we have any changes to the agenda as presented?
Yes, Mayor Carter, we will have 2 additional agenda items this evening that came in after the agendas were prepared. One of them will deal with outdoor music requests, and another will deal with approval of hiring of a city employee. We will take them up under items 8H and 8I on the agenda, please.
Under other business? Am I understanding that wrong?
We'll place them after item G.
Okay.
Other business will move down to item K
Okay.
or J.
Welcome.
Councillor Loeffler has now also joined the meeting.
Would you like to get Renee caught up on the changes to the agenda?
We'll be adding 2 items as items 8H and I, one regarding a request for outdoor music and one regarding acceptance of a hiring authority.
All right, council, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Anything further? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Agenda is approved. Reports from department heads. Mr. Jeffries.
Thank you. I think I'll start
Trent.
as
Sorry.
Foreman Pink is here.
Excellent.
Trent Pink from the Public Works Department.
Hello, Trent.
Howdy. We finished installing all that park equipment at the end of July, and just let you know, the tether ball was up for about 24 hours and someone cut the rope. The basketball hoops, they're up for about 12 hours and someone broke the cranks on them. And then the picnic tables, they lasted about a month and then someone bent them. So I have a feeling it's kids, but I can't really blame anyone, but it sucks.
Yeah, big time.
It's a time sink for us, and for that to happen, it really sucked. But moving on, this is actually the last week of the kids' help, so all of our mowing will start falling back onto us, and so it'll slow things down for us. But one of the things we always do with the last week of the kids is sewer flushing, so we started that actually yesterday. And so just so people know that there is a possibility of red water with the water being turned up. Typically it doesn't happen, sometimes it will happen. And flushing the sewer is just preventative maintenance, so we don't have to deal with any issues during the winter. And it helps out everyone's house really. And then once that's done, then we're gonna be moving on to dust control for the alleys. We were kind of fortunate early in the year, well I wouldn't say fortunate because all the rain really sucked, but we were fortunate that dust wasn't really an issue, but it has become an issue over the last like 3-4 weeks here, and we do plan on tackling that issue maybe starting at the very end of this week. Doubt it, but most likely next week.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Trent.
Thank you.
Mr. Jeffries.
Next, we'd like to call on City Engineer John Jamnick for whatever is on Mr. Javnik's mind.
Well, just an update on the Daniels project, as most of you have seen, we finally got some pavement in town today. About a week and a half ago, they got the curb and gutter in, which was one of the bigger holdups, getting the concrete people. They got that in Damien's addition, so they're able to pave, they got everything basically done. Woodridge, Planks Way, everything on Damien, so thought it turned out pretty good. They gotta now do some shouldering and cleanup work, but that's just an update on we had a June 20th completion date, it's August 20th, so.
Close.
So I don't know if there's any questions or comments from the council at this time.
Council?
Did you do anything with the curling club road?
I talked to Tony about, I got a couple names that I need to coordinate organizational meetings with.
Okay.
So the answer is no, we have not done anything with the curling club. but-
Didn't want you to forget about it. 'Cause I'm not being let forget about it.
So, thank you.
Well, thank you, John.
Okay, thank you.
And then I guess it'll be me. I have a few items, I'll make them brief this evening. First off, last meeting we discussed FEMA in St. Louis County having a disaster recovery center request. Would like everybody to know that FEMA in St. Louis County has in fact opened a disaster recovery center and established it in Virginia at the St. Louis County Public Works Facility located at 7823 Highway 135. It'll be open 7 days a week from 7:30 a.m. until 6:30 p.m. until such time it's not needed. They expect a minimum of 30 days, but until they need it, it'll be there. Federal financial assistance is available for eligible homeowners and renters in the form of grants to cover costs of temporary housing and home repairs, low-interest loans to cover uninsured property losses, and other programs to help individuals recover from the effects of the disaster. So if in fact you are impacted by those weather events of the third week in June, don't hesitate to get over to the St. Louis County Public Works Garage, to the FEMA Disaster Recovery Center, and see whether or not you're eligible for that kind of recovery funding. Next, John very happily announced paving's done. Little shouldering, little cleanup, Seville Avenue still on the work list, and we talked about the curling club, but for all practical intents and purposes, the paving projects are done as of about 4:22 this afternoon. Next, the car wash on Pennsylvania Avenue has been dismantled, and there's only a little bit of material left to move out of there, so that has happened. Next, we talked about undertaking a structural analysis for the water tower superstructure. That has in fact been started, and provisions have been made to complete that as of, it might be tomorrow. It's supposed to be Thursday, but it might be tomorrow. So the schedule to have those analyses and that information back available for discussion and evaluation by the end of August is still on track. The laundromat has received the green light for demolition from the MPCA, and that's scheduled for next Monday.
Wonderful.
The civil defense siren, which was announced the day after the last council meeting, did not announce, and since that time, we have determined that there are hardware issues with the communication equipment between Virginia and out this way. Those repairs are scheduled to be made. So those are my items, all good items, I think. That's my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Trent. Thank you, John.
Thank you guys for returning that equipment so quickly. It was fixed about as quickly as it took us to find out about it. So, thank you.
Moving on to Citizens Forum. Anybody wish to speak tonight?
Mayor Carter, we have 3 individuals signed up to speak: Mel Staffaroni, Cheryl Keevy, and Jim Matthews. So I'd first ask Mel.
I'm going to be last because I'm just going to read off of this in 5 seconds.
Okay, then I guess we're going to have Cheryl Keevy.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi. First, I want to say I'm happy that the roads got done, as John has said. It's good to have a road that's fully paved. And the one thing, though, that I want to bring up was my husband was talking to the foreman that works with you possibly yesterday, and he was saying on our road there are spots where the curbing, of course, has chipped away, and some of it they filled in with blacktop, the bigger areas. But he was telling us to check with the council to see if our city crew would be able to fill in other smaller spots, because he said it's not good where water can settle there and then it would, absorb along the edge of the roadway there, and it would begin to buckle.
Freeze thaw.
So, yeah, I know on our side of the street, it seems to be worse than the other side of the street where there are spots. And like I said, there are larger spots where they did fill in with the blacktop, so.
Okay.
I don't know if John needs to take care of this, or if it's up to the council just to have, like I said, our city crew and come in and if there's something if they can fill it in with small amounts of blacktop or not.
Yeah.
So, that, and then one other question I have. I was at your working session, and when we were talking about that federal match, that $750,000 federal match, and was I right in hearing that you had said you have the full $750,000 match money for the federal money that was awarded to us?
What we said in the meeting was the state funding matches the federal funding and vice versa.
So you would, the full $750,000 would be being taken out of the state money
Well, not
that's,
taken out of,
or used?
well, I would assume so. It has to be used as a match if it's gonna be a match. I guess I don't know what your question is, sorry.
Well, I'm just wondering with the $750,000 that needs to be, like I said, the match for the federal money, where this would be coming from specifically.
The state funds match it. Tony, can you offer a better explanation for that?
Thank you, Mayor Carter. I'll
Thank
just
you.
restate what my goal and intention has been all along. And that goal and intention has been to minimize any impact on the resident taxpayers of the city of Buhl and try to find any way available to leverage funding so that matching state may be used from one pot, if you will, against another pot as an effort to minimize, if not eliminate, any amount coming directly to the resident taxpayers of the city. Little too early to say if that's all gonna work out, but that has been and remains the intention conceptually, and one of the reasons aggressively going after additional funding.
Okay, I thought you already had the funding there for that $750 match. That was my understanding at the working session that I attended.
The idea is to match the state and the federal together, which is common practice for funding.
Which we have both of those.
Right. I was just wondering where the $750, like I said, was coming from.
For the federal funds?
Well, yes, for the federal funds that you need to match for the federal funds.
That would be matched with the state funding.
All right, that's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keevy. I guess we have Jim Matthews.
Hello, Jim.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Jim.
I came to, listen to the meeting, but also give my update on the paving for Clink's Way. And yes, it's great to see it finally get done. Clink's Way is not done. Similarly to what Cheryl said about Woodbridge, we have about a 30-foot section on Clink's Way that's the gutter, the cement gutter, that's failed. It's sagged over time from settling after sewer work was done, I assume. But what they did was kind of put a patch on it. They took asphalt and laid it into that settled area for the curb as a Band-Aid for now. And it'll have to be corrected properly. So I just want you to know, yep, the paving is there, but the project's not done. That's all, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
I'd like Mr. Jamnick to comment on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the issues we had in this project was getting concrete. We had patches there. I don't think we had anything planned for patches on Woodridge, but we were gonna do some of that work on the Seville, to patch that stuff, but we couldn't get our contractor in town to do the concrete work. I know what Mr. Matthews is talking about. They put a bituminous overlay on that curb, 30 feet, 20 feet long, so, I don't know. We had an point was is though, we had an opportunity to get the contractor in town to do the paving, so we kind of took advantage of that. So I think we can address Mr. Matthews' concern if there's any other, we talked about doing something alternative work on Seville versus just patching that concrete curb there, so that's, I don't know, tough to find contractors to work, I mean, that's the issue. So, but it was paid because we had an opportunity to get the paving done.
So is this something in the future that we'll come back to and do the repairs of the concrete, or are we just gonna leave blacktop over
Well,
concrete?
I think we're in a position where we can possibly close out this current contract we have and then look at alternatives to get some of this other punch list stuff done. Seems to be the best alternative.
Have anything to add to that, Mr. Jeffries?
Thank you, John.
Okay.
My understanding is that the depression of the curb on Clink's Way had been there prior to the beginning of this contract.
Okay.
And it was not specifically included as a scope item on this contract. However, the decision was made by the asphalt folks and the engineering folks to, in that area, as we said, we paved over the depression on the curb. In this fashion, in the meantime, the hope is that it functions appropriately. But if it does need to be changed later, that it can be cold cut in a section and it'll be popped out cleanly. If we had not gone over that depression, I don't believe we would have been able to cold cut that joint as cleanly as it can be done now, should that be a choice in the future.
Well, and the weather, having a depression like that and having it exposed to the weather, rain, ice, snow plows, etc., would have probably been a worse option, correct?
Right. This was intended to eliminate that depression from a functional standpoint even. And again, it appears that that curb swale had been there since before this contract scope, and it was not a specific contract scope item.
Okay. Perfect.
I'd like to disagree with that comment because Mr. Jamnick is here on video, and I don't have the date, but I can get that, saying that the change order for Clink's Way was to do a restoration, meaning for that curb section, and repaving Clink's Way. The word restoration was used, so restoring what? Restoring the curb. Yes, the curb was settled before the paving project occurred. Everyone knew that. The problem is what John said, was that the contractor didn't get over there and fix the curb before the paving occurred.
Agreed. I think what matters most is what's in that contract, though. We can't expect more than the verbiage
I agree.
of the contract.
Again, there was the verbal from John.
If I may, Clink's Way is not in the contract, correct, John?
That was an extra work item that we did not have in the original bid. It was added in the project, and the intent was just to do a reclaim for a mill and overlay in there. We realized the curb was sunk, it was like a Woodridge, there's probably a lot of broken concrete curb we could have repaired too, but we didn't. So I understand the issue. I think the efforts to there because, first of all, it's such a flat grade in there. You know, there's not much grade in that road, so I try to get it fixed, try to get it patched. We can find a contractor in town to do that concrete work. And like Tony said, it was set up so it's easy to cut off that bituminous. Look at it, we overlaid the curb with bituminous. You know, 20 or so feet. But then when that, wouldn't have to change the bituminous or anything, we just have to cut that out and it would match the curb back in to the
Gotcha.
edge of the bituminous.
So then it's just a question of if it was in the work scope or not for that, correct?
No, I just think it was partly, really an overlay, mill and overlay of the roads, and that's
Yeah.
what we did. And we actually had to go in the Clink's way and add a little bit more bituminous, because it wasn't as, you know, it was rough, a little bit rougher than we thought it was.
Woodbridge, you mean?
Not much, but it just, you know, it takes some of that work, just to make sure it was level and slopes the right way, those type of things, so. I don't know what you know, I don't know if I use the word restoration, if that meant we were replacing all the curb. And I know the intent was to do a mill and overlay on it.
Yeah, well, and I stumble on words all the time. That's no,
Did
but
we-
what's in a contract or a change order is the description of the work scope, and if that's not, if it wasn't in there, we are where we are. If it was actually in there, then we have to talk about it more. Thoughts, Tony?
I just, John, did we mill Clink's Way?
I don't know if we really milled it, we had that small,
No,
we had
you
that
milled-
small milling.
We milled Woodbridge.
And we did that one, but we
Not
had that small
Clink's-
milling machine. I don't know if you-
No, I don't believe that was ever any part of it, yeah. So, but no, the understanding from my perspective, if you will, the understanding was always that at some point in the past, it was mentioned Clink's Way should receive final pavement or wear course of pavement. It did not happen, so we rallied to make that happen during the portion of this work.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Thoughts, council?
How long do you expect that to last? The, just patching over it?
I'm sorry, what was
I'm
that?
sorry, how long do you expect that to last, the patching over it that was done just?
I think it's more of a drainage issue. Make sure the water drains through that curb and gutter section. You know, I don't think it's lasting. You know, the curb had a very small depression and it put bituminous over it, so I don't know if it's I don't think we're gonna have an issue plowing over it. That might be something that I'll have to talk to Trent about, see if there's an issue with plowing over that, but I don't think it's an issue lasting for a while, but it'd be better if we could, you know, like, maybe get that curb and gutter repatched the way, because they were, when we were talking about it, I said, let's do this, our contractor and Billy, our inspector on site, went back and forth a couple of days, I said, let's just do this, and, you know, because we had the paving guys in town, that's the way we decided to do it. Didn't wanna wait, not do the road and get the curb and gutter in, and again, that's not the council's fault or anybody, that's trying to coordinate getting all the construction done on a timely basis, so.
That's tough right now, everywhere. Okay, thank you, John.
And then we have Melody Staffaroni.
I just have a couple questions.
Thank you, Jim, and we'll talk more about it.
Each council meeting, it seems like we are asking for grants and loans and to different agencies. So I have a list here, and I don't expect answers tonight. If there's 11 of them, too many. But if I give Tony a copy. I'm hoping that he will go through each one and it will come before the council next meeting so that everybody knows, not just me. The first one is an IRRB. This was done on February the 7th of '23. It's an IRRB Cultural and Tourism Grant application. It is for resurfacing the state skating park, new basketball hoops, which I realized we did get, a bench in the park, and ice skating rink boards. And I don't know if this grant was ever received, and if so, how much? How much did we spend? Because there's nothing in any of the meeting minutes that the money even was received. And that happens to be the same night that you hired Mr. Jeffries. So, that could have gotten by the wayside. July the 11th of '23, we received a $100,000 grant from the state of Minnesota to fix our city hall. And specifically, it was supposed to be for like steps or improvements. And I'm just wondering how we're coming on that, because the money is still sitting. August 15th, you authorized Mr. Jeffries to make an application to St. Louis County Community Development for funding improvements for housing developments. And what's the status of that grant? It's never been said how much, if we even got it. August 15th, you authorized another application to the DNR for funding to address forest health issues. Again, nothing's been said. Buhl applied for a grant for a teen center. Originally, the B2 bank was discussed, and for whatever reason, it is no longer on the table. But how much of that grant money is still left to be able to rent a spot? And what is the plan? If there's money left over, what's the plan? Where are you gonna put it? August 15th, '23, Mr. Jeffries was asked to identify all properties under city control and present recommendations to the council for potential future disposition. And I've never seen anything that says what they own, et cetera, et cetera. September the 5th of '23, authorized to make an application to the Minnesota Department of Health Water Protection Program for a new water meter. Was the grant money ever received? Did we ever get a new water meter? And if so, was this the money that we got from Minnesota Department? I don't know. September 5th of '23, authorized to make an application to the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources for a shade tree program. Did we ever get that grant? And if so, how much did we get? Because I don't see any new trees. October 17th of '23, Donnelly Culver, somebody on Culver Avenue's building has collapsed. And all of us on Culver would like to know how far are we getting? What are we doing? What's the status? February the 15th, nuisance parking and shortage ordinance, evidently he will present a template for potential ordinances in the very near future. Just wondering how that project is coming. And May 21st, authorized to apply for a Blandin Foundation grant to assist with updating the city for their Buhl comprehensive plan, because most cities have one. And don't have any idea what the status of that is or if we're gonna get any help there. And that's it. I have copies. I'm sure I'm gonna give Tony, if you guys would like a copy, I've made 6 of them and everybody can get a copy. Just wondering, because we need to start cleaning up some of these projects. Everything is kind of hanging.
Oh, it is. Great compilation. I would advise,
Excuse me.
Thank you.
during city hall hours, come speak with staff and they can answer a
No, I
lot
want
of
you
those.
guys to
Oh,
tell
yeah.
everybody on tape so that everybody in town knows. So it's just easier. I would, but this gives him 2 weeks to,
Well, and also,
Bring it to
I would advise, maybe coming in with a couple of questions at a time. just
Well,
because,
we're getting close to the end of the year, and
no, agreed, and I'm not saying any of this should be off the table for discussion or whatever, but
that's it. That's all I have.
thank you. Thank you.
Hey, that's all that we have signed up, Mayor Carter.
Excellent. All right, moving on to consent agenda. The minutes from the regular city council meeting, August 6th, 2024. Claims, payroll number 16 in the amount of $18,170.63. Accounts payable in the amount of $81,662.88 for a total of $99,833.51. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll motion.
Thank you. Have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Questions? All right, hearing none. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Thank you, everybody. Moving on to item A. I have item B. Apologies. Item A is Resolution 24-21 authorizing the city to submit information to the Minnesota Public Facilities Authority, the MPFA, and to enter into a grant agreement with the MPFA. At the end of the 2023 state legislative session, the city of Buhl was awarded and appropriated $2 million. The Minnesota Public Facilities Authority is the agency responsible for and tasked with administering this appropriation, along with other appropriations included in the 2023 Special Appropriations Fund, passed by the 2023 state legislature and passed onto the MPFA in August of 2023. Recipients of a special appropriation grant from the 2023 Minnesota legislature are required to enter into a grant agreement with the MPFA for project funding. The MPFA needs information and documentation about the project before a grant agreement can be prepared, including but not limited to passage of a resolution authorizing the city to submit information and to enter into a grant agreement. Resolution 24-21 has been prepared for consideration to accomplish this purpose. We have a motion to authorize the city to submit information to the MPFA and to enter into a grant agreement with the MPFA.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion? Mr. Jeffries, anything to add?
This is a standard practice with the MPFA to begin their process, and without it, they won't start it.
Excellent. Council, anything further? All right, with nothing more, Mr. Jeffries, being this a resolution, please take the roll.
Councilor Hydrava,
Yes.
Councilor Keeling,
Yes.
Councilor Loeffler,
Yes.
Councilor Towner,
Yes.
Mayor Carter.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0 and so prevails.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to item B, consider approval of JPJ Engineering invoice 22-059, number 4 for Damien Addition Phase 3 professional engineering services in the amount of $5,675. JPJ has invoiced the city. The invoice is related to services rendered for the invoice period of May 2024 through June 22nd of 2024 and includes services related to the above referenced project. Specifically, these charges are identified as professional engineering services rendered under, quote, construction management and staking. John's with us tonight for any questions. This item was originally on the August 6th City Council meeting agenda and was tabled, held over, and placed on this agenda in order to allow City Engineer John Jamnick to comment, and he was, as he was unable to attend August 6th meeting. We have a motion to approve payment of invoice number 4 for project number 22-059 to JPJ Engineering in the amount of $5,675.
I'll motion.
Thank you. Have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, discussion? John, anything to add?
No, I mean, the scope of work was, when they started in the spring, and, we did some construction staking, so that, that was about half the bill, so.
Okay. Pavement's down.
Yeah, no more staking.
Okay, council, anything further on this? All right, with nothing more, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Sorry, one second. Missed one. All right, item C, consider naming an individual to the Recreation Board. City currently has one vacancy on this Recreation Board. Notice of this vacancy was previously posted and the public was notified and requested anyone interested in serving in this capacity should contact City Hall for potential consideration. This posting remains in effect until the vacancy is filled. Kelly Gergen, sorry if I
Pronounced it right.
I'm bad with names, sorry. Kelly is a resident of Buhl and has expressed interest in joining the Recreation Board. She is interested in filling the current...
The end of the current term.
Yeah, no, sorry. So is this... I'll get to the end here and then I have a question, sorry. Members of the Rec Board are appointed for 3 years staggered terms. She's lived in Buhl for a number of years and loves being involved with this great town. She's helped and participated with the Recreation Board with numerous activities and events in town in the past and present and would like to join the board and be involved with more. Excellent. Do we have a motion to appoint Kelly Gergen to serve on the City of Buhl Recreation Board for the remainder of 2024 and with an additional full term that expires December 31st, 2027?
I'll motion to appoint Kelly Gergen to serve on the City of Buhl Recreation Board for the remainder of 2024.
I'll second.
So the motion is just for
Yep.
the remainder of 24?
Yeah,
Okay.
for now.
So we have a motion and a second for Kelly to hold, to fill in till the end of 24. Excellent. Council have anything further?
Yeah, so I guess the only reason why I left the next term out, and I'm sorry, when Kelly was at the last rec board meeting and she mentioned she was interested, we talked about it and I mentioned to specify if she's talking about the remainder of this term or if she's talking about the next one that's gonna be opening up. And then I thought about it after, we haven't really opened up next year's term for applications yet, so to be fair, to open that up this fall, winter, whatever we would normally do. But, yeah, obviously I wanna see her involved. She's gonna be involved one way or the other, but
Yep.
just, it dawned on me, I shouldn't have said that because it'd be appointing somebody too early without giving anybody else the chance if there was somebody out there, which,
Gotcha.
who knows.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right, anything further, council? Nothing more? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item D. Consider approval of describing the creation of a new parcel of land from existing public land holdings to sell to a private party. Mr. Jeffries, would you like to take this one?
Thank you, Mayor Carter. On June 1st, 2021, the City Council of the City of Buhl approved a request from Buhl resident Mike Anderson to purchase a small piece of city-owned land adjacent to his property, which he has maintained for some time, claimed as 25 plus years, and which he intends to utilize as green space. The lands in question constitute a portion of existing parcel number 115-0040-00185, which is held by the City of Buhl. Staff has met with Mr. Anderson and proposes that the easternmost approximate 156 lineal feet of that parcel be removed from that parcel and a separate new parcel be created describing those lands. Subsequently, that newly created parcel would be offered to Mr. Anderson and conveyed to him contingent upon fulfilling the previously approved sale, purchase, and applicable fees. As I see it, the applicable fees will include, but not necessarily be limited to, surveying fees if necessary, replatting fees if necessary, description fees, we have to describe we have to come up with a legal description, and St. Louis County recording fees. So to go on, I guess the staff recommendation is to ask for the city to approve the describing of a newly created parcel of land in order to allow for the creation of this new parcel and subsequent conveyance of the parcel to Mr. Anderson. And if you would get a motion, and then maybe I could go on after that.
Thank you, sir.
I'll motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion.
Okay, let me just go on. I put a image into your packets, if I can direct you to it. If you look at the right-hand side of the image, you'll see in cross hatching the section of land which has been proposed after meeting with Mr. Anderson. The western boundary of that parcel would be an extension of the westernmost boundary of the residential parcel to the south of it, where you can see a house and another outbuilding on it. And immediately to the east of that is Mr. Anderson's property, all right? I will please point out that on the lower right hand of the proposed piece of property, the things in crosshatching, you can see that it dips down to the south a little bit. I want the council to be aware that if you look to the south of that, toward Culver Avenue, you'll see kind of what looks like an hourglass-ish shaped piece of property there. That's also City of Buhl property. At one time, it appears that that might have been intended for the alley extension of the alley between State Street and Forest Street going north, but it has not been used as one, and I want to point out it is not a right-of-way. It is actually City of Buhl owned and held land. So I bring that up because the city may wish to look at and consider that little nub that's hanging out to the south there, and keeping that in the city property and adding it to that hourglass section, or alternatively, just convey the entire piece as it's crosshatched now to Mr. Anderson. Thank you.
Thank you. Thoughts, council?
Can you say that again? What would the city want with that little piece?
I'm not saying they would want anything, I'm just trying to say that to the south,
Yeah.
it's city-owned property already, so that little piece could just be added onto there without much disruption of anything. If, for any reason, the city felt that it would be cleaner to offer, shall we say, a more uniform shape of a parcel of land than the way it is presently shaped with that little south nub on it.
Yeah, those.
I guess, saying it another way, Councilor Keeley, the relationship of where that nub is in relation to the land to the south of it makes it such that it wouldn't be a big, it would be easily accomplishable. If that land to the south of it was owned by anybody other than the city, I wouldn't be bringing this up because we wouldn't have that option.
Yeah, and right now the city's got opportunity to change all this irregularity in there if that little corner of it was added to the city property, and then what was conveyed or sold or what may be.
Plus you're going through all the work of surveying and everything and getting everything marked, you might as well give one shot.
Yeah, that would clean up some boundaries in there. 'Cause that's always been a mess.
For example, little stretches, what, only 30 feet wide by
Yeah.
60, 70 feet long, if that.
I like the idea of cleaning up the lines. When I see stuff like that, it drives me crazy.
And I should clarify also that the arrangement of June 1, 2021 was that the land would be sold for, I believe it was $100 plus fees. And again, I just want to ensure that whatever fees are encumbered, that the city get those covered. But also to try to do this in a way where those fees might be minimized as much as possible.
State Street.
Council thoughts?
I guess if we were gonna go through the trouble of cutting the little nub piece off, could we also portion out the rest of the hourglass down to the street and then offer that up to either Mr. Anderson or one of the other adjoining properties? I mean, he might
I'm not following you. The hourglass,
yeah, if you're already cutting this
go ahead.
portion out of a parcel, if we also cut this part here and then offered up this section, I mean, unless the city has intentions to use it, but maybe they
Because
won't.
those owners are using it anyway, aren't they?
The hourglass section, as you see it, in my estimation, is being co-jointly utilized by the two residences on Culver there.
They may not even be aware that that's actually a little sliver of city
not.
property.
That's not theirs, right?
And in response to Councilor Towner's question, I will just say that what Mr. Anderson has asked for does not include going down to Culver. So that's why I did not include it into this.
Yep, I understand that. I'm just saying, if we're already doing that, we could square out that piece, and if we offer it to one or the other or the third,
Then we have to draw a line between two neighbors.
well, there is a very thick line already drawn between two neighbors. But yeah, that's a good point.
Especially being they use it already.
And so
But as far as Mr. Anderson's parcel goes, council's thoughts on, I like the word, the nub, staying on or being removed?
I don't think it makes a
I don't
difference.
think it makes a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, what are the neighbors, have they had any thoughts in this, or is there gonna be an issue with these two other neighbors that are involved in this nub?
I'm sorry.
I'll answer it this way, Councilor Keeley. I have not approached
Yeah.
neighbors on this at all, but I will say that if you look there, the nub area is probably utilized as much or more
As
than
the rest
anything
of it.
else to the north of there.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
so if anything, he'd be cleaning it up for us, maybe.
Well,
But I just see a little bit of an issue too.
Utilized by who is the question today?
It's not
Right.
utilized by Mike, let's just say that, Mr. Anderson. Because I agree, I bet you these neighbors don't know that there's a piece of parcel in between
No.
their two parcels. And this looks like what Mr. Anderson wants to purchase, looks like it's very utilized by not him.
I think, Councilor Keeley, the action of June 1, 2021 kind of set the stage for
Okay.
this to happen. It just did not describe any land.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I'm wanting to
Okay.
help push forward
I
is
see.
that.
Okay.
And to get to the personal opinion, it might be cleaner for the city to retain the nub, because that would eliminate any opportunity for a new owner of the nub to go after folks who are using it. And if it retained in city control, then the city could kind of, sort of
Yeah.
do it as they see fit.
And if the city kept that little piece, that squares up property lines in there too. That is a lot cleaner.
And then so what we would do is that nub would not exist on its own. It would be added to, combined with that hourglass. So we would be actually just describing 2 new pieces, which is not a big deal.
No.
If you're already describing
But I
them.
think it would be cleaner not to have the knob in there. It's much cleaner.
All right.
Does there have to be anything put anywhere about the bike trail that cuts that corner, or?
Yeah,
Doesn't
because
have to
that parcel does go into that bike trail.
Does that have to be in the description at all, or up in some way?
Well, I don't think, Counselor Towner, it would not hit the legal description, but it may in fact hit some deed descriptions, insofar as the Masabi Trail has what I would believe is a permanent easement for utilizing that area for the trail. But,
Well, and if there isn't, there should be one.
but insofar as describing the parcel, no, I don't believe that needs to come into play now.
All right. Council in agreement that the proclaimed nub stays with the city, and property is described, which it wasn't previously.
And then I'll get with Mr. Chamnick on that after, whatever the matter is.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Anything further, council? No? All right, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion is carried. There it is. All right, item D, update on a request from FEMA for facility use of a space to serve as a disaster recovery center. Mr. Jeffries, I think you touched on this. Would you like to take it?
Thank you, Mayor Carter, and I do believe that almost everything that you have in this memo is updating you on that, has been covered in my comments earlier. Just as a highlight to circle the wagons on that again, FEMA wants a disaster recovery center. St. Louis County intends on having one. The city on August 6th said that they would offer up the community center. Subsequent to that, FEMA reached an agreement with St. Louis County that that service and that location actually started last Friday. So it is in effect, they are up and operating there. And then I described mostly for the public's edifice what it's all about, which I did highlight in my comments. If you have any damages which you believe are related to that rain, weather, flooding event in the 3rd week of June, here's where you go to see whether or not you may qualify for assistance. I don't believe there's any further update needed.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Council, anything further on this? All right, moving on. Item F, update on application for Compeer Rural Feasibility Study Grant for a childcare facility feasibility study. Mr. Jeffries, would you like to take this one too?
Thank you, Mayor Carter.
Thank you, sir.
If you recall, we had a presentation from CEDA, Community Economic Development Associates, last meeting. Okay, so Community and Economic Development Associates, CEDA, through a recently awarded Rural Capacity Program grant, has been assisting the city in exploring siting a child care facility in the community. One of the outcomes of an initial project milestone, the compiling and preparation of a first impression report, was to suggest that the city consider conducting a child care feasibility study and analysis, and that the city apply for additional CEDA grant funding to assist in that effort. At the last council meeting of August 6th, the city approved CEDA conducting that feasibility study and to apply for additional CEDA grant funding. Mr. Joshua Schutz was in the meeting with us electronically, and he continues to work with us on this initiative. And so Mr. Schutz has coordinated working with Compeer Financial to request consideration of being awarded a rural feasibility study grant to assist funding the preparation of this study. So a grant application has been submitted requesting consideration of a $5,000 award. Now, Compeer Financial is member-owned farm credit cooperative serving and supporting agricultural and rural communities. They provide loans, leases, risk management, and other financial services throughout 144 counties in Illinois, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. With 37 upper Midwest office locations, 8 of them in Minnesota, Compeer Financial exists to champion the hopes and dreams of rural America. So subsequent to the hopeful receipt of this award, the project will continue to proceed with conducting the child care feasibility study and analysis, plus other associated activities identified in an 18-week timeline for master planning. Now, that being said, the estimated cost, or the proposed cost of the feasibility study is $8,900. We have received, we've asked for and hope to receive $3,900 of that from CEDA in additional funding, leaving the $5,000 which has been requested of Compeer Financial. And should those awards come through, then we will be funded to conduct the feasibility study.
Excellent. Get that one on your list, Mel? Got that one on your list?
No, it wasn't because it wasn't decided, and
Okay.
nothing was decided.
All right, thank you for that update. And we have another one. Excellent. Item G, or anything further, council, on that agenda item? No? All right, moving on to item G. Update on Great River Energy Mesabi Trail Tour of August 10th, 2024. The city had previously been requested by Club Mesabi to consider hosting a portion of their 2024 Great River Energy Mesabi Trail Bike Tour, which the city approved earlier in 2024. The tour was a fundraiser for Mesabi Trail and Club Mesabi, the Friends of the Mesabi Trail. New for 2024 was an iconic tour route riding between Buhl and Calumet, which showcased the mining and historic sections of the Mesabi Trail. The tour date was set for Saturday, August 10th, 2024, with Buhl serving as a start and finish headquarters for all the tour events. Several hundred riders congregated at Burton Park on the morning of August 10th to enjoy this event, which continued into late afternoon. 5 different tour routes were established covering from 12 to 70 miles, with Buhl serving as the originating and ending location for all routes. Many activities and events were offered, including water sports, activities, disc golf, and live entertainment, and food and refreshment throughout. The city made its facilities available to the riders and Club Mesabi personnel, including some limited overnight camping for the tour participants. The event was well received and successful, with minimal issues experienced. Club Mesabi and the Mesabi Trail wishes to extend thanks to the city for its hospitality and partnership in assisting putting on this worthwhile family-oriented event. Excellent. Glad we could be a part of it. Anybody ride that?
I think Kelly was there.
Kelly worked it.
Did you? In good time?
A
Yeah.
lot of work.
Yeah.
It was hot.
Yeah.
Still had fun. Well, I just volunteered there.
Oh, okay.
The rec board went down to the park to clean up on Sunday after the event, and there were still people there in the morning cleaning up. They left the place spotless from what I could tell.
Wonderful.
So,
Nice.
and
That's
bringing
good.
that many people to town and leaving so little.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, maybe we can team up on more of that. Mr. Jeffries, anything to add?
I think it was a great partnership that will have rewards well into the future.
Excellent. All right, council, anything further on this agenda item? All right, with nothing more, moving on to item H, outdoor music request.
You guys don't have this yet, so I'll hand it out, and may I take it?
Yeah, please.
So, there's a request from the Hideaway to have outdoor music and beverage service. The city has received a request from Nora at the Hideaway for permission to have outdoor music on its property on Saturday, August 24th, this Saturday. They intend on holding a one-day karaoke contest and benefit for Tammy Gruenhagen, who has contracted breast cancer. So this will be a fundraiser for Ms. Gruenhagen. The Hideaway intends on serving keg beer outdoors on its property and to conduct a karaoke contest with all proceeds directed to Ms. Gruenhagen. This is anticipated to start around 2 o'clock and conclude around 11 o'clock. So the request again is for the city to approve allowing them to have that music outdoors till 11 on their property as they do this karaoke contest and serve keg beer on that property.
Thank you, sir. Council, we have a motion to approve the request by the Hideaway for outdoor music. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay, I have in fact asked for 11:30 time to give them a little bit of time to say, hey, we gotta quit, or depending upon how it's going at around 11. So please be aware that the motion that you have in front of you suggests 11:30 p.m.
You guys good with that? Okay, perfect. Excellent.
Are they gonna barricade it, or is it just having?
It's just on their property.
No barricades, all on their property.
Mr. Hadrava, this is your cup of tea.
Karaoke?
We can expect to see you singing, correct?
Well,
It's for a good cause.
I might.
All right, I'm gonna have to try to get down there. Yeah, that's for a good cause.
Yeah, Tammy's a good girl.
She's a very good person. So anybody who can get down there, I know this video won't come out, but anybody who can get down there,
I don't know, it's
Please.
been really quick about publishing lately, so I don't.
Fast as my service can get it.
well, I'm sure everybody in town has heard about it. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Anything further, council? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope that event turns out well. All right, moving on. Item I, new hire.
Again, this came up subsequent to the last meeting, so you don't have it until now. I mean, subsequent to the agenda being ready. So may I take it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The City of Buhl Library Board has extended an offer of employment for a lead library technician. Fantasia Duty has received an offer to join the Buhl Public Library. The council needs to approve and accept this offer prior to the beginning of fully extended employment. It would be considered a sub position or subbing position until such time as the council takes action. Ms. Duty has accepted the offer, so the recommendation is for the city to approve and accept the hiring offer of the library board. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a motion to approve and accept the offer of employment by the City of Buhl Public Library to Fantasia Duty as Buhl Public Library lead library technician?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, sir. All right, discussion? I have a question. Lead library technician. I know they throw a technician after a lot of positions, but like,
She'll be.
The
doing what
librarian?
Carrie was doing.
okay. All right. They throw a technician on the end of everything nowadays for positions in it. Excellent.
Child care technician.
Yeah.
Babysitter.
Wonderful. The letter, it looks like, is addressed as Tasia.
Yeah, she goes by Tasia
Okay.
for short.
Well, thank you, Tasia. Wonderful. Keep that library open. All right, anything further, council? No? All right. Mr. Jeffries, this is just a motion, correct?
Correct.
Not a resolution? All right,
Not
excellent.
resolution.
Okay. With nothing further, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you to Tasia for being part of our community at the library. Wonderful. All right, we have reached councilors' comments. Council, the floor is yours.
Okay,
You always start,
Yeah, I
so.
do. First of all, I wanted to tell, it was a good job for the car wash, how they cleaned it up, took that building down, and the way they did it and the quickness of it was pretty good. They need to be commended for that,
Yes.
so good job to them. The other thing is, I noticed that we made the Buhl City Facebook page again, the city basically did, with the noise of the cars and the speed of the cars and the four-wheelers, the motorbikes in town. I think everyone really needs to be reminded that not everyone wants to hear your loud car, no matter what time of day it is. The speed is ridiculous going down Culver, Pennsylvania, Grant location, and I know we talked about getting the cops in town when we talk about them with the contract. We need to push a little bit more times in town, but people, you guys, be responsible, and the smart aleck comments, whoops, came out with that. You guys, come on, just be respectful of somebody else besides yourself. This is getting ridiculous. We talk about it, and it gets worse. If you sit down, just go sit down on the corner on a weekend, heading down to the pit. It is so loud. It is, and somebody is gonna get hurt one of these days. I can't say enough about it, and I respect every person on that page today, except for the ones that don't respect the,
Others?
the others, when they're just trying to get people to slow down and before somebody gets hurt. I don't know what else we can do. Just keep pushing it, but, and then, I have to, back, Mel, I know that you did all of this and stuff, and I have to agree with Brandon, though. I think some of these things need to come up to City Hall and get answered at City Hall instead of bringing them up here and telling us that we have to answer them.
Well, you put 'em-
I am talking right now, thank you. And, some of these have already been answered in previous meetings, and I don't think we have to keep bringing it up, and if you do need to know, you can come up to City Hall and answer them, that's all.
And on that, my comment I was gonna make finishing that, please bring a couple at a time. If we start swamping our staff with, we're burning our resources. And then on the other end of it, we're gonna complain about staff's overtime. Let's find a happy medium. All the information is there, and it will always be there.
Yeah.
So let's not overdo it, sorry. It's not mayor's comments yet, sir?
If I may, thank you for that, but I'd just like to say from what I picked up tonight, it would be my intention of, by next meeting, giving an update on the list of what is on that.
Yes, and that would be wonderful.
Thank you for your sensitivities,
Yeah.
but the intention is we'll have that next meeting.
Excellent, thank you, sir. Okay. Floor is yours.
I'll go.
Oh, I could go, but after that, then that's it.
The beach blast was today. It was very well attended. I can't count high enough to count how many people were there, but it was
Really?
a lot. I ran out of toes. But no, it was packed. When I pulled in, because I was a little late getting there, I didn't think I'd find a space in the parking lot.
Really?
There were so many people. And there was lots of great prizes to give away, thanks to people that helped out, donated. B2 Bank provided a ton for this event, and obviously, seems like every event.
Awesome.
So thank you everybody that came out, thank you everybody that helped. It seemed to really go well. I think everybody had a great time.
Yeah, that's a great event. It made a front page of Masabi even.
Yeah.
That's a good one for our town. Awesome. Sorry I wasn't able to attend.
It's alright, there wasn't much room left.
Yeah, my kids showed up.
So did
They
mine.
did a great job, by the way. Tom's boat, impressive.
Those little tinfoil ones?
Yeah, he did a great job.
Hello.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yep.
Renee?
I don't have.
Mike?
I'm good.
Nothing? My turn? Alright, summer's coming to an end. Get outside, enjoy it, because pretty soon we're gonna be shoveling snow and complaining about it, so. I know the fish have quit biting as good as they usually do, but get out there and enjoy it. We still got, I don't know, a month left before we start complaining.
3 weeks to grow season.
Yeah. Yep. It's still summer.
Stay off the ice.
Yeah, it's still summer. Get out and enjoy it. Bring the kids out. Get them fishing. Get them out in the woods. It's good for their health. And that's all I have. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Anything further, council?
No.
And nothing more? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting closed, 7:40.